Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing the GTX 1080 in PUBG Season 6. I think it's Season 6, I'm not too sure about that. This is the Asus Strix GTX 1080, by the way. I overclocked it a little bit here, plus 120 MHz on the core clock and plus 350 MHz on the memory clock. And we're running it with a Ryzen 7 3700X as well as 16 gigs of RAM, CL14 3200 MHz dual channel, of course. Let's get into it, my friends. And I'm gonna be playing here at 1080p, 1920 by 1080 as well as 2560 by 1440, 1440p, then 3840 by 2160, also known as 4K resolution. So starting off at 1080p, I'm gonna do very low settings as well as high settings in the three resolutions. Maybe at 4K instead of high, I'm gonna do like medium or something because, well, it's a very demanding resolution. I'm not gonna test like every single setting at every resolution because, well, it will make for like a 25-minute video, and I feel like high settings, for example, look pretty much the same as ultra settings, but of course ultra runs a little bit worse, so just play on high. And medium settings is just it's in the middle, you know. It's GTX 1080 anyway, so you should play at either very low if you want very high frames, or high if you want good visual fidelity and decent performance still, okay? So let's get into it, my friends. By the way, we're gonna try the new Vikendi map over here because that's what you requested, and let's go. Alright everybody, here we are in the plane getting a ton of FPS. I'm not sure if we're gonna get these FPS down there, but anyways, it seems like we're gonna drop there. I'm playing squads by mistake, by the way. I don't usually play squads, I usually go solos, but that's okay. What the hell is that? Is that like a roller coaster? Holy crap, this is insane. Why did I open my parachute now? I forgot that you can't parachute twice. There's a train now? What the hell? PUBG, what are you doing? Is this Apex Legends now? I think I'm just gonna go there because there are tons of guys going there. By tons, I mean like 3, but yep. Way too much for me. Like, one guy is way too much for me, and there's one over there, which is a little bit too bad, actually. So, as you can see, by the way, if you have like a 144Hz monitor or something like that, I'm gonna put it in first person because I prefer it, by the way. You can clearly see that we are CPU bound here at this resolution with the 3700X. If you had something like a 9900K or an i7 8700K, you'd be getting more FPS, especially if you overclock those. Even like an i5 9600K. Yeah, something with stronger single core performance will run this game a little bit better. Yeah, namely those CPUs that I just mentioned, or the i7 9700K as well. The game also likes Intel CPUs a little bit more than AMD's. Moving on, should I set it to first person again? I don't know, I'm just gonna go with it because it's basically the same, guys. Look at that, like 150, 149, 153. So you lose like 3 FPS. It's not a big deal, okay? First person and third person, so these results is like both for third person as well as first person. If you have like a smaller FOV in first person as well, I'm running like 103 FOV, you'll also gonna be getting like really the same FPS as third person, so it doesn't really matter. Last time I played this game, here in Vikendi at least, the game stuttered a lot, and now it seems to be very smooth. I don't know if that's because I just installed the game on my new SSD or what, but it is running very smoothly, and I like to see that. Honestly, guys, I never liked to benchmark PUBG a lot because it would stutter all over the place, but today it seems to be a little bit better, okay? There are still a few spikes here and there though. It's not like completely smooth, but I can hardly notice those. I can see them in the frame time graph and frame rate graphs, but yeah, those aren't really noticeable, and the gameplay is just very, very smooth. So if you have a high refresh rate 1080p monitor like I do right here, yes guys, this is a new monitor that I just bought. It was at a good price, okay? Yeah, finally I can get a high refresh rate experience again, you know, this is beautiful, and I just can tell you that if you are a competitive player, this set of components is actually very, very good for this game. GTX 1080 will have no problems whatsoever running PUBG, obviously. That's like, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna stop it right there. Average is above 144 FPS, so this is just amazing, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and do high settings now because, well, yeah, let's just skip low and medium and go straight to high. I told you about it earlier, so doesn't matter. Let's start counting the FPS once again. Everything now looks way better, you can tell, right? Like, there's no jaggies Like, the anti-aliasing is actually pretty decent. You can still spot enemies at the distance. The game actually does look pretty good, and we got our first stutter, like, noticeable one here. So maybe high settings will introduce a little bit of stuttering, but I'm not sure about that yet. Let's just run around for a little bit longer once again. There's the train, and yeah, let's try to find at least like an AR, you know, that would be great. Let's talk about something a little bit more useful to you. So our VRAM usage is getting up there in like the 4 GB range. So if you have a 4 GB card, you might want to play this game at 1080p with the medium settings, like maybe medium textures, because yeah, we're dead, basically. That's what we are. But we are above like 4 GB, and that means that it will stutter a little bit if you have one of those 4 GB cards. Of course, the 1080 doesn't come in a 4 GB variant, so you're fine in that regard. If you have this card, you got 8 gigs of RAM, and of course, it's very smooth with that, or the stutters at least aren't really caused by the VRAM, that's for sure. I think that there was a guy there. I'm not too sure about that, but we need to be very careful now. I'm just gonna leave, you know. I do have bandages, so I'm gonna bandage myself up over here, guys. Like, I'm serious, if I died there, I would restart this video completely, because I'm not sure if you guys are enjoying it too much. Anyways, guys, our GPU usage is now a little bit higher, still not at 99% pegged, you know, so there's still a CPU bottleneck. It's way less bottlenecked right now, of course, because, yeah, it's still like in the 80 to 100% range, mostly in the 90s, which is very nice, and you can still retain that high refresh rate experience if you have 144Hz monitor at 1440p, 1080p actually, not 1440. We're not testing that yet, and I died. Yes, beautiful stuff. So that's high settings for you. 138 FPS average, 81% lows, a little bit of stuttering sometimes, which means that this game's still not well optimized after like 3 years or something like that. So yeah, I'm not authorized to do what, game? Seriously? You still get these errors? Oh man. Why, PUBG? Why? This is why I don't like to benchmark you. Anyways, guys, my problems with this game aside, let's do 1440p now at the very low settings. Okay, everybody, we're here in the plane, getting pretty much the same FPS as earlier at 1080p, and I think that's gonna be the case here even in the ground, because as we were so CPU bound at 1080p, I think even at 1440p we are still gonna be a little bit CPU bound down there, but let's see. So I'm gonna go alone now, it seems like, because my people are still going there, and oh, they just, alright then, I didn't see that. Alright, going alone, don't care. Alright guys, so I don't think anybody's coming here with us to these houses, so we're fine for now. And, yeah, alright, so we're in the ground. Okay, let's start counting the FPS once again, and it seems like... yeah, it's gonna be pretty much the same, guys. Like, we're in a different area, that's probably why we're seeing, like, less FPS, I guess, but... yeah, you can't be everywhere in PUBG, so gonna go away now. As you can see, 130, 140, sometimes it hits 150, maybe. I haven't seen it yet, but it will hit 150 sometimes. I'm not sure what I'm doing, by the way. Just running around, seeing the FPS. I don't really care about killing everybody, because, yeah, that's just me playing PUBG. I don't really like the controls in this game, okay? I'm being honest here with you. Once upon a time, I really enjoyed this game, but now just going back to it after playing Apex Legends and Fortnite and stuff like that, and Call of Duty Warzone, the controls just feel really, really clunky, so I don't really like it, okay? The controls, the movement, everything. I guess it's a little bit more realistic, but I personally don't enjoy the gameplay as much here. And I have 600 hours in this game, because when it came out I actually played a lot of PUBG, but not right now, okay? Anyways, there's still a lot of people playing it, and that's fine, and if you're watching this video, you probably enjoy playing it, so me bashing it is not a very good idea and bright idea, but you know what, guys? I'm not made of bright ideas, okay? So anyways, guys, this feels really smooth still. So if you want to play at 1440p and you have a high refresh rate 1440p monitor, which by the way you should have, because that's what I had before this one. I just bought this one now. This is a 1080p 240Hz because it was on a pretty good discount and I didn't really have 400 or 500 bucks to spend on a 1440p high refresh rate monitor. This one cost me about the same as a 144Hz 1080p one. So yep, why not go 240? But I really miss the crispness of 1440p. So if you guys value that crispness, and I do value it, and I actually may be a little bit disappointed in this purchase of my 240Hz monitor. You're gonna be fine at 1440p with the GTX 1080. As you can see, sometimes the GPU usage fluctuates a little bit, but it's mostly between 90 and 100% usage, and there are guys over here in this house, so we might just go away. Yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it? I'm just gonna go prone here actually, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and do high settings. So 147 FPS on average, 1% lows around the 80 FPS mark. So kind of the same, really, as 1080p. Let's see on high settings. Really curious to see how this will perform here in this map on high settings. So still above 100 FPS. This is still, oh god, okay. Not sure if something was still loading, so I'm just gonna restart the counting system. All right. But as I was gonna say, the game is looking really pretty right now. Of course, I can't really tell much detail apart from 1080p because, oh my god, everything's stuttering like hell because my monitor isn't 1440p anymore. Holy crap, are you kidding me? Like, oh, that was a network problem. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the counting system again and let's restart it once again because that sucked. Like, that was completely unplayable. Hopefully it won't happen again. I have been having a little bit of network issues, network problems for the past couple of hours, so that's why this video isn't really on time, probably. But anyways, let's keep on moving here, keep on running around, watching the great views of PUBG here. This map's actually beautiful, you know? It has like no color and it's not that beautiful actually. The graphics do look pretty decent, you know. Sometimes people say that PUBG doesn't look very good, and that may be true compared to like Battlefield 5 or Call of Duty Warzone, but it doesn't look bad at all, you know. I always felt like PUBG looked realistic, maybe. I don't know, but it has some pretty damn good textures. Look at that. Yeah. If you see things up close, it does look very nice, and the ambient occlusion, the shadows and stuff like that here in the grass and in the trees and everywhere do look pretty impressive, to be honest. It's just the colors that don't pop as much as other games maybe. Little run here on high settings shows us 106 FPS on average and 73 FPS 1% lows now that things have stabilized and I am not having any network problems. So it's still a playable experience. It's still a high refresh rate one. Of course it's not a 144Hz experience, but 100 FPS compared to 60 FPS is still very noticeable, and you're gonna notice the difference between 107 FPS and 60 FPS if you are playing a game on a high refresh rate monitor. So definitely still a viable option here. Let's just go ahead and do 4K now with the very low settings again. See if it's playable still. 3840 by 2160 at very low settings, 100% render scale. Obviously it's been like that in every single resolution, otherwise it wouldn't be the resolutions that we're playing at. Anyways, let's start counting our FPS. So far so good. It seems like it's still a smooth experience even at 4K. If you have 4K 60Hz monitor, you could possibly play at medium settings. I'm also gonna try medium, okay? I think the last time that I tried the GTX 1080 at 4K resolution, it wasn't this smooth, you know? It had a bit of stuttering, maybe because the VRAM was being utilized, like heavily utilized, and I'm gonna die now. Maybe, yeah, he's here. Okay, I'm dead. Like, if you're playing at 4K, most people will tell you that a 2080 or 2080 Ti are mandatory for that resolution, but you know what? The 1080 is doing just fine, and if this is running it just fine, a 2060 Super will also run it just fine, to be honest. That like performs pretty much the same as an overclocked 1080. Anyways, let's start counting our FPS over here once again and run around for like 5 minutes or so, or 3 minutes or whatever. I have no idea how long this is gonna take, guys, this video, but I hope I just don't die, you know? I'm just gonna run around, see if I can find a little bit of more stuttering issues, FPS drops and stuff like that, and then if I find those, I'm gonna show you on the video, of course. So yeah, everything smooth so far, guys. Very nice. VRAM utilization at 4.5 gigabytes. RAM utilization almost at 10 gigabytes, 9.4 gigabytes almost. And yeah, that's just very interesting to see, because I didn't remember PUBG to be so RAM intensive. Maybe it's because we're at 4K. I didn't really notice the 1080p RAM situation, but I don't know. Like, resolution doesn't really use RAM, you know, unless you run out of VRAM, and then it starts using system RAM as VRAM to offload those textures and stuff. So yeah, it's not the case right now. We have plenty of headroom there, but if you want to play at 4K, just go at it, man. Medium settings across the board right now. Let's apply that and restart our frame counter, and I think we're gonna drop from 60 FPS at medium settings. Yep, there it is. I'm not gonna test high settings as well here with the GTX 1080 at 4K, because, well, we're already dropping from 60 FPS, and in a game like this you should really aim for 60 FPS, you know, or at least like 50 plus FPS, which should be what we are gonna get here at medium. So yeah, I'm just gonna grab a car. Why didn't I think of that? You know what, guys? This particular model of monitor that I just bought has a lot of ghosting sometimes. At least here at 60 Hertz I can see, like, of course the game is still very gray, and that's one of the most demanding colors for input lag and stuff like that, response times, yeah. So yeah, I don't know, but so far so good. VRAM utilization is still under 6 gigs, so even if you have something like a 2066 gigabyte, it should run it fine with a few less FPS, unless you overclock it and make it on par with this one. I don't know, it's probably not going to be on par anyways, but still, not bad performance here coming from the GTX 1080, 4-year-old card, you know. It was high-end back in the days, in 2016, but it still kind of is high-end today, you know. It runs pretty much everything just fine at 1440p high settings, and if that's not high-end, and that's not high-end, I know it's not high-end, by the way. It's like mid-range of today with the 5700 XT and stuff like that. 5700 XT, I also got that one, and it runs a little bit better than this one as well, like 25% faster. If I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would be just fine with the GTX 1080 still, like no problems whatsoever. So I'm just ramming this car into somewhere and die. Oh boy. Okay, I don't even have a weapon, do I? Yeah, I don't. Okay, guys. So, gonna die now. I'm gonna die trying to find a weapon to help my boys. It's still above 60 FPS, by the way. Here in this little town, it seems to be a little less demanding than out in the woods and stuff. I can hear them. Oh, he knows. He knows where I am. Oh, he's here. I didn't even see him. But okay then. Yeah. 52 FPS, 1% lows, and 63 FPS on average. Not the worst result in the world. It drops from 60, but mostly it is above 60 on average, so not bad. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it was informative and helpful to you. If you have the 1080, there's no need to upgrade just yet, unless you really want to play at 4K. Highest settings, you know. Even in COD Modern Warfare, this GPU does very, very well. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and give the video a like, and I'll see you in the next one, hopefully. And as always, guys, stay safe, and I love you all. Bye-bye.